Hi, my name's Callum Dicks and you're joining me today at the fabulous Monk Hall fishery. We've been blessed with some glorious weather and the temperatures really are starting to increase. As the temperatures really start to increase, shallow fishing is going to be one of my main approaches in the matches I fish. Today I'm going to take you through maggot fishing shallow and a method that I've been using a lot recently, the jigger rig. So I'm going to start fishing, take you through a little bit more detail with this rig and hopefully catch you a few more fish. So what is the jigger? The jigger is a method where the angler can control the speed of the hook bait as it drops through the top layers of the water. The other great thing about the jigger, at every stage where you're dropping your hook bait through the water, the line is completely tight between the hook and the pole tip. Right, the components of the jigger rig are very simple. To start with, we've got a 3-inch hook length. Now sometimes I use hair rigs with bands, but today because I'm fishing with maggots, I'm just using a straight hook where I'm going to be hooking the maggots. Right at the top of that 3-inch hook length is where I've got my bulk shot, which is all the weight of the jigger float. Today I'm using 5 number 8 shot. The next component, the most important component of the rig, is the Maver dedicated jigger float. Now these have been designed perfectly for this style of fishing. They've got a slight weight in the actual body of the float to keep them sliding and to keep them vertical at every point of the drop. The hole itself going through the middle of the jigger is a nice size so it slides nice and freely. The next component of the jigger is just a little gripper stop. Now that will stop the jigger going up onto the elastic. The main line itself is 0.20 diameter line. There's no need to go light main lines with this rig, just nice strong durable main line. Now that's every component of the jigger rig. Very simple but so effective. The process I use when fishing with this jigger rig is very simple. The first thing I do once I've got the top kit in my hand is put my bait on. Today, like I said, we're using double white maggot, but if you are using a hair rig with casters or pellets, it's just as good. Then once the hook bait is on and we're ready to ship out, I'm going to feed a decent handful of bait. If you can get a reflection on the water or something to aim at, it just makes you a little bit more accurate. Today we haven't got that pleasure, so we're just trying to be as accurate as possible. Once I've got out to the distance that I'm fishing, the first thing I'm going to do is slap the rig over, just rotate it 5 times. Lift the whole rig out of the water and just start dropping it vertically, trying to mimic the speed that the maggots are falling in the water. So we're just going to drop it in again because we had a bite first time. Just drop it in, just keep everything nice and vertical, nice and tight. The fish, once you catch them, they're going to hook themselves just like that. So I was just dropping that in and it pulled the elastic out. All the bites should be nice and aggressive because you've got a permanently tight line between the hook and the pole tip. Next stage, once you've hooked a decent fish, try and get it out of your peg and feed again. I fed twice then because I feel like there's a lot of fish in the peg and I want to keep them in my peg. So feeding whilst you're playing the fish is very important. These fish do tend to fight quite hard this time of year when it's sunny, so just take your time, keep everything nice and low. You don't need to rush things to catch a big weight. We're using the short top kits today. It's actually a little carp, which is nice. Again, get your landing net in the right position, unhook the fish, place it in the keep net and we're ready to start the process again. Pretty much every time you catch a fish when fishing like this, you're going to have to rebait up with your hook bait. So again, double maggot on, hooking one through the head, one through the tail. And we're ready to start the process again. Hook bait on, decent handful of bait, right where I think I'm going to be shipping out. Once I've shipped out, slap the rig over 5 times again to create a bit of noise, a bit of a tension towards your hook bait, and just start lowering. There we go, straight away. Started lowering and the elastic was out immediately. So once the fish is out of my peg, I'm going to feed twice again, because I really do feel like there's a lot of fish in my peg. If I wasn't getting this many bites and it wasn't quite as good, if we're in match circumstance and the fishing wasn't quite as good, what I can do, I can drop my pole tip right down to the bottom, the full length of the jigger rig, and just start tapping the water with the pole. That's also a great way of catching an odd fish. You're just creating a little bit more noise towards the hook bait again. Another big F1. So just take your time unhooking them, because they are really decent fish. Unhook the fish, plop it in the keep net. Another 2 maggots on the hook. One through the head, one through the tail. And we'll start again. Another big handful of maggots. You can be really aggressive with bait when fishing with this method. Because it's so efficient, you don't foul hook any fish, you don't miss any bites, you really can up the feed and try and generate as many fish in your peg as possible. So we've fed, we're just going to slap the rig over again 5 times, create a bit of noise towards your hook bait, and then just start lowering it. There you go, straight away again. I think that one's a smaller fish, that's an eyed. It just shows that it isn't a method just for F1s and carp. You can catch all fish on it, eyed. Put 40 or 50 of them in the net during the day, really is going to bump your weight up. Oh, we got a bit of luck with that one. Our hook bait's fine. So leave it on there. Another big handful of maggots and we're ready to ship out. But you really can see, because of how efficient this method is, you don't foul hook any fish, you don't miss any bites. Every fish is in the mouth, you tend to land 95% of your fish. You really can see how big weights are caught fishing like this. So we're just going to get to the bottom of the jigger rig now, because we haven't had a bite in the upper parts of the layers of the water. Just going to let that jigger float sink, and we're just going to tap. I've actually overshotted the jigger today, really just to make sure that at every point in the cast, just a small fish, every stage in the drop is 100% tight. See what we had then, we've got 2 F1s straight away, then we've hooked 2 smaller fish. So I really am going to up the feed now. I fed twice then. Just going to rebait and start the process again. So double white maggot. Red maggots can be good on the hook as well. Going to feed again. Another big handful of bait. We're ready to start the process. So when you get out to the desired length, rotate the rig over 4 or 5 times. I like 5 times. I feel like 5 times is the right amount of noise. You don't want too much noise to scare the fish away, but you want enough noise to attract them to your hook bait. So we're just going to sink that nice and slowly. There's fish in the peg there. Getting towards the bottom of the rig now. Once that jig is sunk, just going to try tapping the water. If no bites, oh, there we go, got a bite as we were tapping the water. Get the fish out of your peg and another big handful of maggots. But you can see just how quick it is because of how efficient it is. It's a great method and a great way of catching a big weight.